Hello everybody, it's me Will, and I'm back here in the park on a gloomy and a little bit drizzly day here in Atlanta to give I guess a little bit of a Green Day update type of video because somebody in my last video commented saying that they would like to know my thoughts about the recently announced Dookie 30th anniversary box set that's going to come out later this month on September 29th of 2023. And some of the songs were already released on streaming services. Some of the songs from the demos and the outtakes were released on Spotify, and they gave some details about what's going to be included in the box set. So I have a lot of thoughts about it, so let's go ahead and check it out. I guess 2023 ended up being a very busy year for Green Day, not releasing a new record. Because the new record was supposed to come out this year in 2023. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Hopefully it's going to come out next year, but we'll see. I guess they were busy this year coming out or digging through the old vaults and coming out with anniversary box sets of their old records. So a few months ago they released the box set of Nimrod, the 25th anniversary of the album. I have lots of videos about that box set in my channel, so check out those videos. But this is the big one, the box set for Dookie, the record that really put them in the spotlight back in 1994. I can't believe it's been already 30 years since that record came out. And they're releasing a big box set for that record. And again, it's going to come out in September 29th. And this is what we know so far about the box set. You're going to get 6 total LPs, 5 total albums included in those 6 LPs. Plus a book and a few extra things as well in the box set. But in this video, I'm going to focus what we know about the music and the tracks that are going to be included in the box set. First of all, first record, you're going to get the original album. And no remix, no remaster, just strictly the original Dookie album from 1994. And I will say the exact same thing that as I said from the Nimrod box set. I am glad that they are not doing a remastered version of the record. Dookie does not need a remaster, it does not need a remix. I think it has the perfect amount of production. It does not sound dated, even now, 30 years after it was released. It still sounds fresh, so I'm glad they didn't touch it. They kept the original record included in the box set. Excellent. Second record, and here's when it starts to get interesting as far as the unreleased tracks or the things that the fans want to hear. You get a record full of demos. 2 sides of music. In one side you get the 4-track demos, and in the other side, or in side B, you're going to get the cassette demos. And they're saying that all of them are unreleased, and as far as I know, they have all the songs are unreleased. I'm not sure what the difference is between the 4-track demos and the cassette demos. I assume the cassette demos are rougher demos of those tracks, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out more when the box set and the write-up and the book is released later this month. Anyway, side A, you're gonna get the 4-track demos. You're gonna get 10 songs, demo versions of the songs. 9 of those ended up making it to the final cut of Dookie. The only song that didn't make it to Dookie from that side is the song "When It's Time," which was very surprising to hear that "When It's Time" was recorded and written during the Dookie era, because it was also included as a demo version of that track in the Nimrod box set that came out just a few months ago. So it's crazy that they had a great song written and recorded, I guess partially recorded in 1994 when Dookie was being worked on, didn't make it to Dookie, they re-recorded it again, or I guess re-recorded a demo for the Nimrod era, the Nimrod sessions, didn't make it to Dookie again. It actually eventually didn't make it to any of the Green Day records, but it did make it to the Broadway musical soundtrack back in 2005. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool to hear that track, and that's one of the songs that were already released on Spotify. More on that later. Side B is gonna be the 7 tracks of cassette demos, and you're gonna get "When I Come Around," "Basket Case," "Longview," "Burnout," "Haushinka," "JAR," and "Having a Blast." Again, this is where it gets very interesting, because you're talking about some tracks that didn't make it to the final version of the record, but did make it to the final version of the record that came in after that, almost 3 years after. So it did make it to Nimrod, and I'm talking about, of course, about the song "Haushinka." And I knew that that song was written during the Dookie sessions, or during the Dookie era, because I'm a huge Green Day nerd. But I didn't know that they actually had a recorded demo of that track during the Dookie sessions. So that's going to be really interesting to hear. That song was not released yet on Spotify or on streaming services, so I'm really looking forward to hearing a version of that, or that demo version of that song when it comes out. And also, of course, the demo of JAR, which didn't make it to Dookie, but did make it to the to the Anglo soundtrack that came in after, or came out after Dookie. And yeah, um, this is definitely the most interesting record out of the whole in the box set. In case you haven't listened to some of the tracks that were already released in Spotify and streaming services, definitely check out the songs that were released from the 4-track demos. Again, they're in all the streaming services. They are fascinating to hear if you're a Green Day fan. The songs themselves, I guess they are similar in structure as the songs that made it to the final cut of Dookie. Musically, they're similar. However, the lyrics in some of those tracks are completely different. Definitely unfinished versions of those tracks, particularly Basket Case. If you listen to those lyrics, they're completely different to the final cut that made it to Dookie, which is weird because for me, or from what I know about Basket Case, was that that song was written about, or Billy Joe wrote that song about his panic attacks and about his mental health during that time of his life. And if you listen to the lyrics of the demo version, the 4-track demo that is available right now on streaming services, the lyrics are so different, it doesn't even sound like he's talking about his mental health or about his panic attacks. It sounds like a typical Billy Joe love song. But I could be wrong about that. I guess I need to pay a little bit more attention about the lyrics. But it's fascinating to hear all the demos that were already released from the 4-track demo tapes. Definitely check them out in case you haven't. All right, record number 3, you're gonna get a full record just of outtakes. Which saying it's a full record is a lot because, or maybe a little bit of an overstatement, because you only get 6 songs included in this record. 3 of those they're claiming to be unreleased. I don't think that's really true. I think only 2 of those tracks are really unreleased, because the final version of the outtake 409 in Your Coffee Maker ended up making it as part of the B-side of the single for Dookie. So from my point of view, only 2 unreleased songs in this outtake record. And you only get 6 songs included in one side, and the other side is going to have an etching, so no music in the other side. Which makes you think that why they didn't just bundle this outtakes as part of the demo record. You know, it's only 6 songs in them. Why not just save some money to the fans and just include it as part of the other record and call it demos and outtakes? But I guess that's a decision of the record label, I guess. So you get 6 songs total in this record. You get the Dookie version, or the Dookie production version of Christy Road, which was a song that was included in their second album that came out on an independent label, Lookout Records, and the record was on Kerplunk. Definitely a more polished version of that song. It sounds really cool. It was already released on streaming services. It's really nice to hear the kind of like the heavier guitars that they included or in the production of the track. Definitely something that they couldn't have done when they were working on their first 2 independent label releases. But I feel like I like the original version of Christy Road a little bit better. Mainly because I don't really like the vocal tone that Billy is doing in this version, in the Dookie version of Christy Road. I think he's trying to really mimic what he did in the original one from Kerplunk. I don't think it works quite well, but otherwise I think the guitars are way better in the Dookie version of Christy Road. Anyways, that's a really cool listen. And the Dookie version of 409 in Your Coffee Maker is also going to be very interesting. It was also released in Spotify and on the streaming services, and that's that song that came out in the B-side of Basket Case. So I knew about that track before. Great track. One of the best songs from Green Day, from the early era of Green Day. I definitely think that if that song had made it to the final cut of Dookie, it would have definitely been a hit. In a similar way as Welcome to Paradise did, which was also a reworked version from one of their first 2 albums. I think that would have added another single and another hit out of the many that they had from Dookie. And as far as the comparison between the original 409 in Your Coffee Maker and the Dookie version of 409, I think I like the Dookie version better. I think a little bit better produced. It has better guitars, and I don't know. I just think it sounds better in this better production and the Dookie produced version of 409 in Your Coffee Maker. JAR hasn't been released on Spotify yet, but it has been released, like I mentioned before, in the Angle soundtrack. Great track, and it was another hit for Green Day. On the Wagon and Title of Waiting for You made it to the B-side compilation Shenanigans. Two fun songs, but not great songs. And Title of Waiting for You is a cover of the Kinks, of course. And the final song in this record from the Outtake Records is a song called Walking the Dog, the demo of Walking the Dog. I can't remember exactly, but I believe I have heard some bootleg live recordings from Green Day during this era, and I think they have played this song in those concerts. So I feel like I have heard that song before, but I can't know for sure about that yet. Another fun song. It's obvious why it didn't make it to the final version of Dookie. It's just another really silly and fun song. It almost sounds like a Trey Cool type of song, but I'm glad that they included it here in the Outtake record. And that's all you get about as far as demos and outtakes. The next two albums are going to be live records. Record number 4 is going to be Woodstock 1994, that originally came out in Record Store Day a few years ago. I have a copy of that one. And I guess they're including this record as part of the box set, just in case some fans didn't get to grab a copy during Record Store Day because they were kind of limited. But I guess it makes sense that they included this record as part of the box set because it's part from that era. It's an iconic time during the Dookie era. So, and it's a great show as well. And the concert ends up in a shit show, literally. Check out the track list in of that album, that live record, in case you haven't. But anyways, record number 5 is another live record, the Green Day live in Barcelona from June 5, 1994, completely unreleased, never before heard. Although I do think that some of the songs from this concert were released as part of the singles, but I'm gonna have to check on that later. And you get 2 LPs of live music in that album. Excellent. I'm glad that they included this one in the box set. Definitely fits in the box set itself. Green Day, some would say at their peak. I don't know if I would say at their peak, but definitely in their most powerful form. And I will say the same thing that I mentioned in the live record that was included in the Nimrod box set a few months ago. Green Day was a very different live band in the 90s compared to the live band that they are in now or after American Idiot came out. Green Day was still a very early, very young band that were with a guy like Billy Joe Armstrong that was still trying to find himself as a front man in a punk band. He wasn't really a showman, and he grew up in a place where being called a rock star was something to not be proud of. You know, you were supposed to be ashamed, or if somebody called you a rock star, it was supposed to be an insult to you. So you can tell that he was acting a little bit different, or I guess when he was performing back in the day, he was acting a little bit different than what he does right now, where he is a force of nature. He takes command of the stage. He is supposed to entertain these people, the crowd, keep them energized and keep them up dancing and singing and jumping. That was not the case back in the 90s. I think he was a little bit more reserved, more into just playing the songs, maybe being a little bit rowdier towards the crowd. I'm not saying one type is better than the other. I'm just saying that it's different. The Green Day that we had back in the 90s was very different live than the Green Day that you see now in the big music festivals or in the big arena shows. So definitely great to have these live recordings included in these box sets, especially because I personally didn't think a lot of these records would ever come out. Because there's an interview that the guys from Green Day did when Nimrod was being recorded, and Billy Joe was very clear that he was not going to release, or they were not going to release any live records. They were not a live record type of band. And he would say, if you want to see or if you want to hear Green Day live, go to the concert. We play everywhere. We play in almost every town out there. So go see the show instead of just buying a record. So I didn't think that they would have so much live material recorded during that era. So it's great that they have included that record from Live in Barcelona from 1994. Really looking forward to hearing that one. But anyways, that's all you get as far as the music in the box set, the 30th anniversary box set of Nimrod. Really looking forward to that one. Price. This thing is expensive. It is not cheap. It is $175. It's a full $50 more expensive than the box set of Nimrod that came out a few months ago. And granted, it does come with an extra LP of music, but like I said before, it's just in the outtake record is just 6 songs in one side, and the other one is the other side is just an etching. So I don't know if it's worth it to pay that much money for a box set of essentially just 5 albums. You're talking about almost more than $30 for a single record. I think it's too expensive. I'm gonna maybe wait a little bit to see if the prices go down quite a bit. But I'm gonna have to buy it on vinyl anyways because I'm a huge Green Day fan. I'm a huge Green Day collector. But if you're not a big Green Day collector, but you still like Dookie and if you still like Green Day, I would recommend, and if you don't want to spend the full $175 on this, I would recommend just buy the CD version of this box set. And I thought about doing the same thing with Nimrod, because the box set, you get all the music, it's just on CD, and 2 of those records are live records. And like I said before on in my Nimrod video, I think you can enjoy the live records a little bit better on CD and CD format, because you don't get those pauses between the records or between flipping the sides. You get the full live music experience from the live show by listening to the CD version of it, or almost it, I guess. But that's just my personal perspective. If you don't want to spend that much money, just go ahead and buy the CD version of the box set. It looks great. You also get a few extra things. You don't get like all the extra stuff like the poster and things like that, but you still get the full music, and I think you also get the book. I could be wrong about that. I'll put it in the comments if you don't get the book, but it still looks like a really cool option. Anyways, really looking forward to that one. I'll definitely make a video when I get the box set back, when it comes out after September 29th. Let me know in the comments if you're looking to pick this one up. Let me know your thoughts about the Dookie 30th Anniversary Edition box set. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.